And in that single glance, she felt something in her chest crumble weaker, her voice quieter, her smile forced. Every time Hooram entered the room, her mother's eyes would search her face, as if silently begging her to let go of whatever storm she was holding inside. Maazin took care of everything from her medicines to her meals, but he never brought up the topic again. He moved around the house like a man who had accepted his fate, but every time his eyes met Hooram's, there was a flicker of something unspoken pain, maybe, or hope refusing to die. That evening, the house was dim. Hooram sat on the edge of the bed, her mother resting against the pillows, pale but awake. The ticking of the clock filled the room between them. Hooram, weakly, reaching for her hand. Hooram, I know you're angry with life, maybe with me too, but I can't bear to see you like this anymore. Hooram, immediately. Mother, please don't say that. Hooram softly. Listen to me, daughter, forget what anyone said, forget who's right or wrong. If you don't want this marriage, no one will ever force you. We'll do whatever you wish for. She paused, her breath shallow, eyes glistening. But just don't punish yourself.
Or me.
I don't have much strength left to see you break anymore. The last line hit like a blow. Hooram felt her heart twist painfully as she looked at her mother's trembling lips, her fragile hand clutching hers. Hooram smiled faintly, brushing away the tears on Hooram's cheek with trembling fingers. Hooram, barely whispering, say something, daughter, please. Hooram swallowed hard, her throat tight, the tears spilling freely now. Her mother's eyes, tired, pleading, filled with love, broke her resolve completely. She took her mother's hand to her forehead, her voice trembling. Hooram, softly, defeated. Fine, mother, if this is what will make you happy, then yes. A tear slipped down Hooram's cheek, a tear of relief. She pulled Hooram close, whispering, Hooram, you've always been my brave girl. God will make everything right. Hooram closed her eyes, tears soaking into her mother's shawl. Her lips curved in a broken smile, but her heart felt like it had just signed away the last piece of itself. Across the hall, Maazin stood silently near the door, unseen, unheard. He had come to ask about Hooram's medicines but froze when he heard Hooram's voice. Every word reached him like a whisper from a dream. He knew her, yes, wasn't born of joy, it was surrender. Yet for him, it was the sound of life returning to his chest, the color that crept back into his world after years of gray. He leaned against the wall for a moment, eyes closed, letting out a deep breath he'd been holding for too long, a faint, relieved smile touching his lips. Because even if her yes was soaked in tears, for him it was hope. Hope that she would be his. And maybe someday, she would forgive him enough to love him again. The garden looked like a dream that had bloomed overnight. White flowers covered every arch, fairy lights glimmered like fireflies, and soft dupatas were draped from one tree to another, a canopy of purity and promise. The scent of jasmine filled the air, and the evening sunlight painted everything in soft gold. Zamir was running around, giving last-minute orders, cracking jokes, and teasing everyone in sight. Zamir, to Maazin, bro, you still have time, or are you planning to run with the bride? Maazin gave him a hot glare that made his mother laugh. Mother, chuckling today, your brother looks like he has finally found his peace. But peace wasn't the word restless hope was. Maazin stood quietly near the decorated arch, dressed in an elegant off-white sherwani, his eyes constantly searching for one glimpse of her. And then she came. From the house's front door, Hooram stepped out, a vision in white. Her lehenga was light, soft, ethereal, a white long skirt with a short shirt embroidered with silver and pearls. Her dupatta rested gracefully over her head, a delicate border brushing her face. Every step she took made time slow. The chatter around dimmed, as if the air itself paused to look at her. Zamer, watching her approach, whispered under his breath to Maazin. Zamer, congratulations, bro. Even the moon would feel shy tonight. But Maazin didn't hear him. He was frozen, eyes locked on her, every breath heavy, heart pounding like it hadn't in years. She didn't look at him. Not once. Her eyes stayed down, calm, composed, her hands steady, but inside, she could feel every heartbeat echo his name. She sat beside him as they started the wedding proceedings. Maazin's voice was steady when he said, "I do." Hers was soft, trembling, "I do." And in that moment, the world went silent. Fireworks sparkled somewhere in the distance, laughter erupted, and everyone congratulated each other. But for them, for Hooram and Maazin, it was as if the entire world had melted away, leaving only one truth. They were finally bound not by choice, not by destiny alone, but by a love that had suffered, broken, and still found its way home. Days had passed since the wedding, quietly, carefully, as if everyone in the house was afraid to break something fragile. Maazin had buried himself in his new project. Late nights, long meetings, endless calls, anything to stay focused, anything to silence the restlessness that refused to fade. Hooram, on the other hand, had drowned herself in exam preparation. At least, that's what everyone believed. But she knew it wasn't just exams, it was avoidance. Avoidance from emotions she couldn't name. From guilt that burned quietly. From the feeling of belonging to someone she hadn't yet accepted. So they both stayed busy, yet connected by silence. It was a soft, golden evening, weekend tea time. The family gathered in the drawing room overlooking the garden. Laughter, the clinking of teacups, the aroma of cardamom chai, it all felt normal. Until the sound of a car pulling into the porch broke that peace. Her heartbeat stumbled. She didn't need to look, she knew. He was home. After days of silence, of pretending not to feel, she would see him, her husband. Her hands trembled slightly as she placed the cup down. "Mother," cheerfully, "Maazin's home. Call him, Zamer." Before she could think, she stood up, reflex or panic, she didn't know. But the moment she did, Zamer caught her wrist playfully. She could tell he wasn't pitying her. "Zamer, grinning sister-in-law, where are you running? Wait, at least greet him properly. After all, your husband just came home." Heat rushed to her cheeks. Her throat went dry. Before she could pull her hand free, Maazin walked in. He looked exhausted, tie loosened, shirt sleeves rolled up, a faint frown on his face. But the instant his eyes found her, something changed. The lines of tiredness softened. The weight of the day fell away. "Zamer," mock bowing, "see, bro, I told you your wife is so obedient. The moment your car stops, she stands up to welcome you, with such a warm smile." Hooram's eyes darted to Zamer, pure panic flashing in them. Her warm smile was actually frozen horror. Maazin's lips twitched the faintest hint of amusement. He didn't reply, just walked further inside, his gaze fixed on her. That gaze, steady, intense, unreadable, felt like it could burn through every layer of calm she had built in those few days. She looked down instantly, gripping her dupatta tighter. "Zamer, still teasing, it feels like sister-in-law is scared of you." Maazin calmly, eyes still on her, "No, she doesn't." A pause. A faint, knowing smile. "She's just careful." The words hung in the air soft, yet sharp enough to make her pulse quicken. Everyone laughed, moving on with the light banter, but Hooram could barely breathe. He walked past her close enough that she caught the faint scent of his cologne, that mix of cedar and musk she remembered from their Nikah evening. Her fingers trembled slightly. She hated that he could still do this make her feel when she had sworn to stay numb. As he sat down beside his mother, she finally managed to slip away, her chest rising and falling fast. From inside, Maazin's laughter joined the others' deep, real. The first real laughter in days. He leaned back, feeling strangely light. For the first time in a long time, the exhaustion was gone. All it had taken was one glance at her,